Okay, this is what we call the standing blind push roll practice. It works best with multiple people. I was the only one in this clip. Basically what you're going to do is you have the subject stand in the middle. One of you will randomly sneak up on them while they are blindfolded, or at least have their eyes closed. You have to try and prevent them from knowing who's moving. You push him in a random direction so that he rolls, so that you can practice rolling in an unknown random direction. Basically is what's happening here. Now, of course, there's only one of them doing it, so it makes it a little easier on the subject. He can kind of guess a little better from which direction I'm coming from. But the idea is stealth, random, and the roll. Basically what you're going to do, just punch me in the sand. This is what you're going to do, what I'm doing now. Okay, so you're going to lock. This is your ichimonji. You need to show that you understand your ichimonji. And then from here, that's it.
So it's like the fourth Chino kata, but the punch now.
Yes. That's it. It's as simple as that. Lock, punch. Just so you understand the concept of ichimonji. So what you do to ichimonji card, make sure it's nice and form perfect, because that's the focus. You're in karate, right? Yeah, I can see that. Our punch, I mean, it's not bad. Our punch is right here with these two knuckles. And we go like that. Okay. Not like this. But that's okay, it's close. So, you can practice that 1 time. You guys can practice amongst yourselves if you wish. You just block, punch, set it up.
And is it from like just a normal neutral?
It can be. What purpose does it? Since it is ichimonji kata. All right. Nope. Inside. Oh, I lost the inside. Oh, this whole time. Okay. Yeah.
I was figuring out what it is.
Well, I mean, in real life, you can get on this, but for the purpose of this time. Yep. That's it. This is that easy. What are you doing? Lazy magic?
We need a name here.
A little bit of it, yes. Almost like a cock.
Yeah.
A little
One more reason.
And as we get guessed in the superhero, this one. So, well, yeah, it's focusing most of the steps. So it's started off as much focus. Why do you go around Okay. I'm going to explain some strikes, or some basic strikes that you need to know. It's about 12 or 13 for this running, so they're pretty self-explanatory. The first one is a fudo, or a punch. Right? It's just your fist. And you hit with only these two knuckles. You never hit with these knuckles. They will break. These bones are not strong enough to support that. Okay? And in ninjutsu, we always strike with your fist this way, never this way. The reason for that is that you have two bones in your arm. When you punch this way, they cross. This bone goes down, this bone goes over. And when you take two sticks and you cross them like this and you put pressure on them, what's going to happen? Snap. So when you punch this way, they are straight. Your bones are parallel in your arm. So it's always like this. Okay? Always like this. So I'm just going to do it quick. So fudo. So from ichimonji, my frame here. Step back a tiny bit and over that way. A little more. Okay, so from ichimonji, basically, actually I'll do it this way. I'm just going to step forward, punch. That's it, hitting with these. That is fudo-ken, or all your strikes. The general strikes are called fudo-ken. All your strikes fit under that as a broad category. But fudo-ken specifically is a punch also. A little bit confusing, but fudo. Usually when someone's referring to a punch, they'll leave out the ken, fudo-ken, just fudo. Fudo-ken refers to the strikes as a whole. Okay, the next strike is shuto, which means sword hand. All right. It looks like this. The basic principles are this thumb gets supported on this knuckle. Your hand is bent. You are striking with this part only, from this knuckle to this knuckle. You're not hitting here. Don't let your fingers bounce, they will hurt. This is to support them. So where your thumb meets the knuckle on this finger is the angle that you should have. You can do other things with the strike, but for now, the basic premise is you're striking with this section of the hand. And you're gonna treat it as if it's a sword or a knife, even a knife. So, if this is my victim, your shuto is going to look like this. It's the same thing. You're going to step in. Your hands comes above your eyes. You can shade the sun out if you needed to. You always keep a fist until the last second so the enemy does not know what you're going to do. Okay? So from here, and then you go like that. When you do your strikes, all your strikes, this hand should come to your hip at the same time as you strike because it generates torque in your upper body. The torque generates the power. It's not the same as like karate. We are like this. We use the whole body for everything. Okay, so same as the punch. When you're doing the punch, let's see. We should have it comes up off the ground, right? So it's generated all this power up the flow. Your spine should be straight for all your strikes. So shuto, it's like that. All right. Up to you, Ken. Okay. So the next strike is bushi. Sometimes it's called boshi, or a few other things, but generally bushi, boshi. It is the thumb knuckle strike. Okay. You are supporting your thumb on your fist with a tiny bit of the tip protruding over your knuckles, and you're striking like this. Okay. So when it comes up, You're generating all your power from the base of the ground up through, and you're striking with this. Now, another thing you want to remember is when you strike at first, it can hurt a little bit at first. That doesn't mean you're doing it wrong necessarily. You just have to figure out the symbiotic relationship between your index finger's knuckle and the thumb, because they kind of work together. This really supports the thumb, this finger. If you're not doing it right all the time, never overextend your thumb, it could break. You always want to have a tiny bit of a bend for a shock absorber. And this hurts. Big targets are the ribs. They hurt. The sternum, Adam's apple, in the eye, you know. Soft muscle targets, the ribs are a big one. They really hurt. So, it'll look like this. I'll do it like your mid-mass or something there. Okay, so from here, okay, you're going to step forward exactly the same as all the other strikes. And it's best generated from bottom up. So we're going to go like that. Okay? Put your hand out, on your hand. Up to the side. Just like it. And that's it. Do the other side too. You'll see me, I'm coming off my hip. It can be done from here. Or if you're like this, you could bring it straight off of here. Doesn't matter. You don't, if you're here, okay, you don't have to go after your strike or your block. You don't have to come down and then out. That's just an extra step. It can be done. You'll get more power down here. This is hidden more if you do it from up here. And that is the bushi. The next strike is shuken, extended knuckles. Okay, it's going to look like this from the back side. Straight on, it's going to look like that. Over here, you're doing that. So basically all you're doing is taking your flat hand, you're curling in your knuckles, and you're hitting with all your knuckles at once. This will feel very odd against like a heavy bag because your middle knuckle sticks out the most. So be gentle that way. But when you're doing it against soft tissue targets or concave bones, by that I mean maybe the inside of your hips, because they hook, right? So when I'm hitting someone's hips, put your hands up, like the shape, the way that her hips shape, when I hit in here, it'll hook in there nicely, perfectly. Like right there is going to hurt really bad for them, not you. Other targets would be like right there, and perhaps on the bicep, if you get the right angle. So, basically it's going to look like this. You're doing the same thing. Put your, yeah, sure, we'll do it there. Okay, so you're going to do your, whatever, your block, and then you strike it. Like that. It's the same thing. Other side. Alright, that's it. Shuken. Extended knuckle fist. Shuken. The next one is shuko. The claw. Okay, as you might expect, we have a weapon called shuko. They are iron claws that fit over your hand for climbing walls or for fighting. The shuko is basically your fingertips and your thumb. Some people might say that that is dirty fighting, but on the street there are no rules, there's no referee, and there's no ropes. So you do what you need to do to survive. Screw that, right? Claw. There's basically two different ways to strike with this. The main way is as an actual raking claw. Okay? The claw. So don't just go like that. So if you were going to attack with this, okay, you'd come as an actual claw. Okay? You'd come down and like rake on the soft tissue targets. The pectoral muscles run this way, all the fibers, so when you strike them against the grain, you play them like a guitar, and they hurt. Obviously the face. The face is a big one for soft tissue targets, right? Sideways, it doesn't have to be straight down. Sometimes in the inside thigh, assume a position like you just punched me. Forward. Switch the other side. With this foot. Yeah. Okay, now lean in really far. Okay, so where her hip or her inner thigh is exposed a lot, if you just punched here, while still blocking there, of course, you could attack right here, right? Or the arm, if they're wearing no sleeves, just scratch the arm, both hands, you know, treat it like a weapon. That is shuko. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention about that previous strike, the shuko, is that there were basically two different ways of striking. The clawing motion is one, but you can use the actual fingertips without the clawing, just as a protruding weapon. So, the same thing with the pectorals or soft tissue targets. You can put both in one. So, what I mean by the second way of striking with your fingertips would be like just jabbing them into the muscles. That hurts. Okay, you could do that to the side of the neck, right on the face, into the finger, into the eye holes and stuff. Now, what you can do is combine the two. You do the fingertip strike first and then the claw. So, there's a nice strike. I'm not going to do it on her for obvious reasons. But there's a strike where you put the nipple at the center and you strike all around it with all four of your fingers and your thumb. So, that hurts right there the most. But if you anywhere you use it, you combine the two. So you do the finger strike first, and then rake. So if I was doing it to the face, I'd do one, and then two. So if your fingers penetrated the eyes, you could hold the eye sockets, or rake all the skin. It's always a 1-2. If you don't have time, one or the other. But there's no reason why you can't combine them. The next strike is ichimonji. That is thumb knuckle strike. Looks like this. That is what you're striking with right here. It is basically a fist, but you're sticking your thumb knuckle out as a tipped weapon. Okay? Bujinkan. Now, how could you use this? The ribs are good, the side of the neck, the temple, or there's a little concave bone just ahead of the temple, right beside your eye. Works really good there. If you get that, it'll shatter the eye socket. So, how it's going to work? You strike, you don't do like up or down motions, it's always directly in. So, if I was going to do something, it would be like right on there. Okay? Give me a block with, or a punch with this hand. Okay. Oh, right from here, where I blocked, you could come in and hit the bicep with it. You could hit the neck, hit the side of the face, in here. Where, doesn't matter too much at this point. The general idea is you understand its application. It's always like I mean, you can come down, you could go up, but it's a this way. You don't do this, or this. It's always like that. Okay? The next strike is a tetsui. Looks like a fist, looks like a strike, a punch, but you're now going to hit with the bottom portion, not this part. Okay? Hammer fist, it's called tetsui. Applications. Well, if you're really close, assume a post punch. Yep. You've just blocked, okay? Say you're really close for some reason. You could do that. You can do it right on the soft tissue targets again, large muscle groups. Right there. Either behind.
Knock the wind out of you.
Yeah, it would. It would do a lot. And so how would you get behind them? Well, you block, you grab the wrist to take them right with you. Right? Hit, and then take the next step after that. So basically, any motion of hitting like this. How you practice any of these strikes, like how would you practice a strike? I forgot my pads at home. Just hold your hand this way. If we had pads, it would be face up. So you practice it like this. Hold that there.
Don't.
Or if you want to take the full step through. Okay. That's it. Tetsui, hammer fist. The next strike is Sanjin, the 3-finger strike. You've seen this already in Chi no Kata. of the Godai. There's a few ways of doing it. Basically, it's like this. Okay. This is your striking point. You remove one finger out of the way, 3-finger strike. Now you can also do it, I've seen people do it like this, and they strike with the tip. But they sometimes will remove a finger again and tip. Doesn't matter. Or a slight curve and they hit this way. Doesn't matter. Whatever works for you, whatever you feel most comfortable with. That's one thing about ninjutsu, is it adapts to the user. Not everybody's going to be identical. You show the basics, you show how things are supposed to be done, and then their body will adapt a little. So it'll look a little different on everybody. So this is one example. Sanshin application. Other than chi, I won't use chi no kata because you've seen that before. Do a punch again on this arm. Okay, so someone's just punched you. Sanshin, and you can do it right to the tricep. There. Now another thing you could do is extend past the fingertips. Okay, so someone had just done this. Go past it and use your forearm to break their arm. You're still doing this just in case. That's your backup. Okay, Sanshin. The pendular motion of the clock. Right? That's what you're doing. Sanshin no. Oh, I was going to say Sanshin no kata. Something else. Sanshin ken. Okay, next strike is kakato. That is this, the heel of your foot. It is a stomp kick, or not necessarily a stomp kick, but it's most popularly used in the stomp kick. It can be used if you're laying on the ground and you could, like, what would you call it? Maybe an axe kick of a different martial art. I won't name names, but you come down and use the back of the heel when you're both on the ground. You'll see that later. But basically the main application is in a front kick. Maybe you secure this hand there. I'm gonna kick it. Okay, so you're focusing, when you're doing your stomp kick, you're not trying to hit with the ball of your foot or your toes or the center of your arch. You're trying to hit with your heel. Okay? So it's gonna be like, okay? I'll do the other way. So heel of your foot, right? So when I won't make contact. So when I'm focusing here and I'm going to kick her here, your heel you're thinking of that's going to be jamming through her rib cage, her sternum, right? So, you know, like the heel itself. Don't do the whole foot. If your whole foot hits, it's just going to absorb, and it's not going to be as effective. What's the point? So when you kick, you know, tip your foot back to expose as much of your heel as possible. And that's that. Kakato. The next strike is kikaku. That is your forehead. You know, do I need to show you a close-up of what a forehead looks like? This is your striking weapon, right? Someone punches you, you can make them hit right there. Their hand will break before you do, I assure you. But the main application is you're really close. Maybe you're grappling or something, right? That's it. It's good for her to do a bear hug. I know this is a little ridiculous because she's so small and I'm so big around my arms.
Oh, around your
If you can. I know. This is, you know, how do you get it? Start with that. She's small. I mean, you get the idea. You can do it backwards too.
Wow. Can't do backwards.
I'll pretend I'm shorter. Okay. And then you just, right? That's the idea. Just anything, any opportunity that you see that you've got a good target, you just smack right on the nose. There, it doesn't matter. Whatever. Kikaku. The next strike is MP. That is elbow. It's pretty self-explanatory, right? Any chance you get where you can't use another weapon, you use your elbow. How? Well, there's lots of ways. If you're here, first of all, you can come straight up. You can come back down. Then there's always sideways and back. It goes both ways, whatever. Punch. Okay, you just blocked here. On the bicep, into the throat. right into the chest. If you find yourself behind them, whatever. If you're down on the ground and you're both grappling, there's lots of ways to use it there too, but that's a little, we'll get to that later. So the basic premise is you're in a good position to use an elbow. You're too close to maybe strike. You won't generate a whole lot of power here, but this is perfect, right? Another way to use this is blocking haymakers. So if someone's punching you like on the street, old school type punching where they do that to me.
Punching?
Yeah. Their hand cannot reach me once you've blocked with your elbow. You block it in the crook of their arm. Right, do it again a little faster. Okay? Doesn't matter how hard they try, they're a little too far. They're close, but they're still. That's it. How do you block haymakers? Like people ask me that all the time. Do it with this hand. That's it. Okay, MP. Okay, the next one is Ihan. It's a stance, but it's also used to describe the part of the strike that you incorporate from that stance. So Ihan is generally a reverse ichimonji. Your ichimonji's back after you've made a strike. You're now in Ihan. Okay, so you're leaning forward. The Ihan toe kick then is the ball of your foot. So when you're kicking, you're going to bend your toes back to expose the ball, and you're going to kick with that. So what I mean by that, and it's sort of like a snap kick. Okay, so that's funny, is it? So she's there. You get your distancing right. So when you come in, you're going to go like that. Okay. So I'm going to come close, but I won't kick you. Okay, right there. You can do it there. You can do it there. Probably the most obvious place to be center of mass, a little low, to bend them, knock the wind out of them, right? So punch, block, okay, kick. That's it. We'll get into more detailed things later. The last strike you need to know for this rank is Hiza. That is your knee. Okay? So basically a knee strike. It's pretty basic. I'm kind of doing them all from the same position just as a frame of reference. It's usually not going to happen this way every time for sure. So how you would use this. That's it. Right? Pretend you just punched me. Lean forward. Assume the position. Okay? So you're in here. I just blocked her punch. Right there on her quad. Yes. You can come up, hit the bottom of the chin if you're tall enough and they're short enough. There's lots of different ways of doing it. There's way too many ways to go through them all now, but you get the idea. MP or Hiza is knee strike. Don't forget when you're in Icho, you got it ready. See, people they don't realize it, but you've already got a weapon pointed at them, ready to strike. And the toe kick too. Yes. Lots of things. Hidden weapons. We'll get into that later. Hidden weapons. Anyway, those are all your strikes for 9th Kyu.
This is my church.
Ninjutsu has Buddhism in it. Natural. It was designed with the Buddhism and the Shintoism because that's kind of how it came about. Because people sometimes say, why do people add Christianity into the martial arts too? But the reason I do it is because I'm a Christian, so I took the Buddhism out and I added a little bit of the Christianity in. You could take it or leave it; it's up to you. And I find that you have to, in Ninjutsu, you have to learn some ethics and morals anyway. But what better place to get it than from the one true God? So from the Bible. The Bible. I mean, you can take it or leave it as you see fit, but that's where I come from. I am a Christian. This is who I am.